Hello and welcome to another bonus conversation. As always, if you have any challenges with the assignments that you're working through, do let me know. Be glad to speak to them. In the absence of that, I'll fill the air with some material. Jumping straight into what that looks like. Um, I'm logging into a Databricks subscription that I have on Azure, so an Azure account, and then I'm launching or attempting to launch Databricks inside of that. One of the things I wanted to show was some of the new functionality that's becoming available in Databricks that maybe isn't as obvious as you might think. And for some reason, probably because I'm doing this live, it's taking a while. So that's probably why. Some reason kicked me off of the faster network. Let's shift back over and continue. Bear with me one moment while I switch wireless, and then I'll refresh and hopefully it'll be a lot faster. There we go. So one of the new things that they've been adding, and I'll show you the classical sort of things because I have multiple Databricks workspaces that I work in. This is what you normally see inside of Databricks. The UI, they're changing it a little bit to customize it for additional types of workload. It may also have something to do with an upcoming IPO, or a targeted IPO anyway. So the idea here is that it's an ever-evolving sort of thing, which is what you get with cloud platforms. One of the things they've added is this repo integration, so repository integrations such as what you have with GitHub. And that's what this is exactly, is a set of files that are inside of a GitHub repository and version controlled properly inside of it versus what you get with some of the other tools is not necessarily this level of integration. So historically, you didn't see repos over here, right? And you did have a workspace, and we'll go ahead and open this up too because I probably want to talk about this in a moment too. So you did have the ability to go over and click on revision history and link it to a GitHub account. This is how it used to be. The problem with this sort of integration was it wasn't very good. In part, whenever you do something like when you go to a GitHub account and you have CI/CD associated, so continuous integration and deployment associated with a GitHub repository, you expect certain types of behavior, and you just didn't get that with their previous implementation. It was very much of a single file at a time sort of experience, so that it was really clunky to be able to go through, and you couldn't add a collection of things in one go. So in order to link it, I have to go in and say I want to link this account, and it knows this, and initially you have to copy and paste these URLs in, and so on. So not real well integrated. Not to mention you didn't have the ability to do the equivalent of normal things that we do inside of Git, merges and pulls and branches and all the other sort of stuff that you normally do. And so you didn't have the ability previously to do things like create another branch, something that is important whenever you're doing development inside of these sort of environments. And because of that, the integration was kind of second rate at best. So that's one of the new things that came along. They don't make it terribly obvious. I believe it's underneath of admin settings or admin console. I'll know it in a moment when I find it. Manage account, maybe. There's a series of things where you can turn on and off various features. I thought it was admin console. Maybe it's user. But the basic idea, though, is that there's a setting here that you turn the various things on and off at a global level, including turning on things like repos. Also, this bit is kind of new as well. So you have the ability now to kind of shift kind of like your workload or your focus. So you're over looking at it from either a machine learning perspective or the classical data engineering perspective. Machine learning is going to put greater focus on the things like ML flow, which is a way of orchestrating or keeping track of what's going on inside of your machine learning experiments and your projects. Also going to be, the content is obviously biased towards things like TensorFlow or ML flow and so on. And a quick startup here with AutoML and some training sort of shortcuts. But the classic approach is this one. This is what you normally saw. So they're expanding it to try to make it to where it can address different workloads in a clean way. And also, this is where I've set up the GitHub integration. And here. Yeah, and as soon as I end this meeting, I will remember exactly where it's at. I would have swore it's underneath of here. Maybe I'm going too fast. Oh, well, and maybe they changed the way it looks. Yeah, they changed the way it looks. So you have the ability here to turn things on and off, and this is including things like RStudio, a download button to where they have the ability to download your notebooks, being able to turn cross-site scripting on and off depending upon what you're doing with your notebooks. So anyway, that's kind of the key part there, is understanding that there is now greater integration with things like GitHub repositories, so that you can now do things to where you can actually go down inside of here and at a certain level go ahead and say create something or commit something to be pushed across. So I'm just going to say save now. This is when you give it a comment and click save, and that actually will push it over across into the repository. So inside of here now I should have a different version. Assuming I'm in the right place. Stenopoc. Yeah. And it seems like it's taking a moment to show up. So anyway, that's the basic idea of the repositories, is being able to link them and have version control outside of the historical sort of integration that was available to you previously. And so that's at a high level that. So to jump back over to another capstone that I went through, and this is I'm going to show it briefly. I don't want to give away the secret sauce and get myself into trouble, but the basic idea of this one was, again, very similar to some of the other projects that I've done before, and it's around this data lake architecture that we've been talking about, Delta Lake, where we're going from bronze to silver to gold. And the similar sort of pattern here of ingesting things from a stream, saving them off to a set of files, when reading those files and surfacing them as a table, and then using those tables to do additional levels of refinement. And the good or interesting part of this approach was you're saving your files in a data lake, potentially, not in the actual system itself. So you don't have to worry about something happening inside of the Databricks file system that causes you to lose your data, because you're actually going to store it out to a different location. And that's what this Right? Whenever you create a table, you'll specify a location. Also, whenever we were running these commands of reading and writing streams, we're giving it a path to write to, not a table. So it's actually writing to a location inside of the Delta Lake. And so that's a very reoccurring theme, very popular pattern that you'll see today of streaming in combination with batch processing and aggregating together into from multiple sources to a single location. And then being able to do refinements and cleansing on top of that, and then eventually getting out to doing aggregates to produce the gold level, as they call it. And so that's a lot of basically what I have to say today. If you have questions, do reach out to me. We're near the end of the term. I've talked about most things with one student. I can definitely tailor the content to whatever you're interested in. So let me know where you're struggling, and I'll be glad to help. As always, if you are having challenges, let me know. That way I can help. And then do stay safe and hope everything is going well. And with that, I'll wrap this up.